Hi everyone, it's hard to believe, but we are on the kind of last leg of this marathon that is This I Believe. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about revision. I know we've spent a lot of time this year talking about it, but one of the things you guys had told us is that you would have really liked to see it kind of modeled in how we go through the process. So I got a ton of feedback from Ms. Halsey, Ms. Costa, and the whole peer revision group. And I'd like to show you how I go about using that feedback to make my piece better. As a reminder, the final draft is needs to be revised on your Ning blog by Wednesday the 6th. If you finish early, it would be great if I could have a head start in grading some of these, and you can email me at the email address right here, and to let me know it's ready to be graded. Please make revisions right on the first draft blog post in a different color, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. Please have a creative title. It gets really boring to read This I Believe over and over and over again. And also make sure that this is a sample of your personal best. And by this point of the year, you all know when you're really working towards your personal best. Some of the steps that we follow here are to review the feedback from the peer revision group, which I did when I made my game plan. I also want to reference the goal that I took time writing. Also review the notes that are on your blog from the conference. Now today you'll be able to do these parts, but you can't really do this part until you're at home and you have access to the internet. It's also a good idea to ask for additional feedback, to come to the teachers and maybe ask for an additional conference. There are sign-out sheets outside my room now, or to ask for additional feedback while you're revising today once we finish watching the video, and ask your group, what do you think about this? Did I do what I wanted to say here? And you guys know what that looks like by this point as well. Don't forget that you did write a goal, and you really want to stay focused on achieving that goal. And this is mine, and I really wanted to focus on fully explaining the belief by providing other examples in order to get kind of a clearer picture. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go look at my notes from my conference. I had great notes from my peer revision, but I really want to go in now and take a look at the notes from my conference and see if there's anything in there that I can work with. Let me just find it down here. Okay. So here are the notes from Ms. Halsey, and she gave me some great feedback, and she liked the hook a lot, and she liked the belief statement. It made me think about it. She gave some great feedback here about I need to show versus tell, and then that I need to finish some minor errors that had some typos that are common in a first draft. She gives me some good feedback about the description and what I could do to improve it. So after doing this, I'm going to go back into my first draft, and you can see that I've made some, where are we here, right here, some pretty significant changes. I've changed around the hook, and I've made a lot of kind of wholesale changes. So right now I want to go in and take care of some of the little stuff that she mentioned. The first thing that she had mentioned was that she mentioned somewhere around here there was a typo. There's a typo right around there. Yep, so I want to make sure I take care of that before it, right here. Or hit the ice. So I've addressed that, and I've made some other changes too that work towards the goal. You'll notice here that I've really changed around the beginning. So I want to show that in my final draft. So right now I'm just going to actually copy this new one into my current blog post, and I'm going to go in and highlight some of the major changes. Now again, you don't have to highlight every little thing you did, but what you do want to do is you want to make sure that you are going in to make the changes that are meaningful, the ones that really work towards your goal that maybe you and I or you and one of the other teachers talked about during your conference. So I'm going to go into options here, and I'm going to edit the post. And when I edit the post, let me just move the screen here so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. First thing I notice is This I Believe first draft. Well, we know that's not going to work because that is just a terrible title. So I'm going to go ahead and change it. And the one I want to use right now is What's in a Name. As I scroll down, it's easier for me because I've made so many changes to just replace this one and then describe the changes. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this one and replace it with my new one. And now I'm going to go through and just change the colors to indicate where I've made a lot of significant changes. The first place I want to note for the teachers who might be reading mine is that I made a lot of revisions to the intro. I didn't like my hook at first, so I've added this story with my dad to kind of explain where the belief developed from, and I think it helps my audience get a better sense of what I'm after here. So to do this, I'm going to choose to do all of this in bold and navy blue, which are my UNH colors. Despite what Mrs. Costa may think, UNH is just so much better than BC in so many ways. And down here, they had asked a lot about more sensory details. So there are a few different spots that I've done that. For instance, right here, I tried to explain the nerves a little more by creating a simile of like waking up from a bad dream. And right down here, I had mentioned, I did a little more of trying to show exactly what I was after, exactly why I felt kind of like I was just there. Now in this paragraph, I've made some subtle changes, but I haven't changed a lot, so I'm going to leave that paragraph alone. I did cut some stuff out, but we're really looking for significant big changes to the piece. And as you come down here, I have explained a little bit more at the end about how my family's experience with nicknames has impacted everything. So really, I've made some wholesale changes here at the end, so I'm going to bold my conclusion and change the color, because I know going into it that that was one of my weakest areas. Now I'm not fully satisfied, so as a next step, I am going to save the work that I've done here. But as a next step, I am going to go to Mrs. Halsey, who I had the conference with, and she's going to give me feedback to make sure that I've done the things she's mentioned, and if there's any other ways I can make it even better. Now remember, you all have that same option and that same opportunity before we meet as a class before you have to submit your final blog post by Wednesday. Please take advantage of that. You've done such a nice job in being thoughtful with your belief statements, and I've been so impressed with your commitment to this piece that we really want to keep that going. And you want this piece to be kind of your shining moment here in 7th grade, and this is a great way to capture just how much you've grown. For the remainder of the period, you will have time to work on your revisions. Make sure to review the goal as well as reviewing all of these steps. And don't forget that the final blog must be posted by Wednesday. Have a great day, and if I don't see you, have a great weekend.